episode of the NEL show. I am so excited to have you join us today on this very important, interesting, impactful, insightful, inspirational episode. I'm SAGENEL Nkechi and I'm your host for today's show. Today we have a very important and interesting guest that will be joining in. We'll be speaking about everything media. We'll be learning about the story behind a scene and we'll be learning what the process is like to build a global brand as she has. So our guest is here. We'll just add her to the conversation and start right away.
Good morning. I guess something is wrong with the microphone. I can't. Let me try. Joining us. Okay, yes. Okay, I can hear you. I can hear you now. Good morning. Okay. Good morning. Thank you so much, Francisca, for choosing to be here despite your schedule and everything in between. I don't take it at all for granted. So we'll go right into your profile and then we'll just start out the conversation. Francisca Ovie is a media professional par excellence. Her skill ranges from production and screen directing to marketing, advertising, project management, planning, corporate communications, fashion styling, public relations, among others. Francisca holds a degree in mass communication as well as certifications in media production and photography from institutes across the Middle East. She is the head of HiImpact Studios TV and Radio, an international media house whose headquarters is in Lagos, Nigeria. She is the founder and chief executive officer of the Omotola Foundation, a foundation birthed by a heartfelt burden for the less privileged children and a desire to see them become a force to reckon with in the society. When she's not working, she loves to read and travel. Thank you so much and welcome again, Miss Francisca. Okay. I think your voice is a bit low. I'm not sure why. Okay, let me try and see. Okay. Thank you again. So let's get started, with Francisca. With how did you, how has your did you always know from childhood that you were always going to be in the media? Okay, from childhood, I would say no. However, I did a lot of things that is related to the media space. I can remember as a child, I went on TV, had some interviews, even in primary school. I was in press club and all of that in the literary and debating society. But I really didn't want to be a media practitioner from get-go. I actually wanted to be a lawyer. That was my dream. Okay, but also I'm going to ask you, so what happened regarding law? Is it that you didn't get to study it again, or you just discovered that you had a different passion? Okay, it's a very long story. Interesting one. I've always wanted to be a lawyer. I even had like connections with lawyers that are advocates and lawyers, big time lawyers. So they were like mentoring me, teaching me things. Up to date, there's a friend of my dad that called me my lawyer daughter. So wow. I tried everything to get admission to study law, tried the university, tried everything I could, but it wasn't working.
the last exam I even wrote, I can remember that I wrote one exam for University of Abuja. I wanted to study law in University of Abuja. A friend of mine and I, so we did this exam. I even like wrote beyond my cutoff mark. I did everything I could. I got somebody that wanted to help out with the admission. But the funny thing is, the person had to tell me that it's looking like God does not want you to study law because I tried my best, but I still didn't get the admission. So studying mass communication was like my last resort because that particular year, it was that year that John started this thing that you have to pick a polytechnic, a university, a college of education. So I had the option of going to the polytechnic. So when I checked, I could remember that I filled for a polytechnic. I filled, okay, mass communication. I just picked it. Let me fill something that is close to law that I could find in the polytechnic. So I had the option of Federal Polytechnic of Kwara State. So when the admission didn't come, and that was like my third year after school. No, the fourth year after school because I stayed at home for about 4 years. And my friends that we finished together, they were already in the higher institution, so it was already becoming a case of depression. It got to that point. So I had to go for my last resort, which was going for mass communication. So I just went for that, and I mean, see how God did the whole thing and see where I find myself.
Wow. Miss Francisca, I think that this is a very important part that I didn't even, of course, now that you're sharing it, so I'm going to just ask further questions. It wasn't my plan to ask you, I didn't plan to ask you. And it's about the part of you staying at home for 4 years. I think that is interesting, especially now that many people can see you're becoming greatness, the things that you are doing now. In retrospect, what did you think you learned in those seasons of quietness and just being, well, maybe sort of in the wilderness when you were not entering school that is currently applicable to where you are headed now?
Okay, so
I hope, okay, I just wanted to share if you can hear me.
sorry, please give me a minute.
Okay, okay, no problem.
So staying at home for about 4 years, I learned a lot, a whole lot. So one of the things I learned was I learned how to manage a business. And I think the lesson I learned that period, because I mean, it was a great one. I didn't know it was going to be useful in future because I didn't think I was going to start anything anytime soon. But I've always known that I would be in position of leadership because right from time I've always been doing one thing or the other, and I'm always at the forefront. However, still at the background while doing these things. So I managed my dad's business center with my older brother. So we did it together. We didn't have to employ anyone. And I learned a whole lot of things. I learned how to be resilient when it comes to managing business, the uptime, the downtimes of businesses. I was able to pick up books. I read a couple of books. I read different things, life lessons from great people. So it wasn't really a time, I didn't get to do what I wanted to do. I wasn't in school. I really wanted to be in school, but I had friends that were still, even despite the fact that they were in school, they were still keeping in touch, trying to encourage me and trying to ginger me through the process. So even the things I was doing, they were encouraging me, trying to make me see reasons why God just does some things for a particular reason. And today I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the fact that I didn't waste the 4 years. And some of the things I was able to pick up in the space of that 4 years are very, very useful to me today. Like the resilience part of life, how to just try to develop a thick skin, even when things are not going the way you want it. I was able to pick up those things, and they've been useful all the way. I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. I muted myself so that, sorry, I've unmuted myself. So let's get back to, I was saying thank you very much for the response. I'm already learning lessons. And that takes me to my next question of what was growing up like for you? in terms of childhood, from what you can remember, parenting, everything in between. What was growing up like for you, your siblings, and maybe primary school too, if you can remember.
I can remember. Growing up was fun. Growing up was really, really interesting for me because I'm from a family where we value the bonds that come with family. So I grew up, what I can remember from my growing up is my siblings, my parents, we were like the bond was very tight. We learned a lot from one another. We were able to teach each other, and then we're always there for one. We're always there for each other. We always had each other's back. So that was it, my typical kind of story. My parents, my siblings were four of us. I'm the second child of four friends. So my siblings were there. There were a few friends because I've always not been a kind of person that has like a lot of friends. I pick my friends. I carefully select a friend for what I want in friendship, and I carefully select them. So it was a beautiful experience. I mean, beautiful one.
Okay, so if
Let me talk about primary school because you asked about primary school. So primary school was really, really fun. I can remember some of the friends I had in primary school. They are great places now. They are doing very well. In primary school, I was the office prefect because I've always been a kind of person that likes to put things together. I've always been a very resourceful person right from childhood, right from primary school days. So at least I can remember from primary school days. So I was made the office prefect. So that was when I started socializing with people, even people that are way older than I am. So right from time I've been used to like socializing with people, learning from them, picking bits and pieces, lessons of life and all of that. And I could remember even my gate man in primary school. He was one of my very good friends.
Wow. Okay. So I want to, at that particular point in time from primary school, your interest was still regarding law. Okay, I think I'm echoing.
Right from childhood. So I've been like passionate about law. I've always wanted to law. And the interesting thing is I'm still going to do it, but I might not do it like I might just pick up a professional course in media law and ethics, which I did in school. So I might do something that has to do with the media space. That's basically what I'm still going to do, but I'm going to touch on law.
Okay, well, let's move to secondary school, for instance. Are there particular incidents and seasons that you can remember in secondary school, if you can share with us three that shaped your life? It could be negative, it could be positive, whatever the case may be, but like maybe incidents that happened throughout, is it the 6 years now in secondary school that shaped your life and the kind of woman that you are today?
Let me just, I remember the very first one that I would never ever forget was when I had to read the class in secondary school. It was a major downtime for me because I attended Federal Government College in Lorraine, a business school in Paris. So there's this school that no matter how brilliant you must always have at least 50 in math and English before you can move to the next. So this particular that was when I was in GSS two. GSS two. I I had I think 47 or 48, and I had to repeat. So it was a major because my group of friends, because friends and so we were doing class, we're doing when the results came out and I had to repeat the class, it was a hard moment for me because I felt like all my friends crossed to the next class, but I was being the only one that would have to sit. And the funny thing was I was the only one amongst my friends that had to repeat.
Wow.
And I back in the first class, and my friends would move to the next. And my find anything because my dad is a very active spirit. Feels like you have to feel why would you, although it that I wasn't like very good with mathematics, so he saw it coming why I allowed that happen. So it said all sorts of things to me. The pain of a parent that wants the child to do well, and I mean, the child had to repeat, so I can understand. But I mean, some of the things he said were extreme, and those things almost affected me. It almost like affected my self-esteem. It almost affected my career. But I just somehow, God just helped me through the process. Then I made other friends that remarkable friends that up till date I can still remember them and they are doing very well. Like in the class I have to repeat to. So it was more of a blessing at the end of the day. And another in my school, a particular class, you have no opportunity to ever become a prefect. You cannot lead. That's the rule. That was the rule.
Wow.
So after this, also because I'm naturally a kind of person that likes to make things happen in the background and not like come to the forefront. I don't and see that I'm doing really, but I would rather do it behind the scenes and I mean do it well. So it wasn't so much of a big deal to me until when the school had to like decide when I got to, I think it was my SS2. They had to decide because they pick acting prefect from SS2, then they make you a full-time prefect in SS3. So they had to decide if I was if they had to decide a prefect for that set. And they really wanted me to be a prefect. I don't know, for reasons best known to them, because I wasn't a dull student, but I wasn't bright with mathematics. So they saw a lot of other things in me that made them feel I should be a leader. So they had to break the protocol when it was my time. So that was the first time ever in the history of my school that they had to make a prefect from a repeater. That's how we call it, a repeater. So it was one remarkable thing that I would never forget.
Miss Francisca, like that's remarkable. In the history of your school, it would always be remembered that that protocol was broken for you. I'm sure, of course, they've broken it now for others, but you were the first person.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting how life turned out, being that you had to repeat that class and some of your friends had to go ahead and everything that still happened afterwards. I think the journey of life, and it's interesting that this happened in your life. Let's get right into what university days were like for you, if you would share with us in terms of the mass communication. So when you finally got mass communication, like you shared with us earlier on, were you into it, or were you just doing it like, okay, well, let this time just pass by, soon I'm going to do my law, or did you start liking it when you got into the mass communication course?
Okay, so because of my nature, the kind of person I am is, okay, there's this rule that I go with in life. If I find myself doing anything, no matter how, as far as I'm in that space and I have to do it, I will do my very best and ensure that it comes out beautiful. So the moment I had to go to the Polytechnic to study mass communication, I didn't force myself to do it. I knew that, okay, I was going for this, and I had to do it very well and come out in flying colors. Although I had plans to do my OND and then proceed to the university for BSc. Again, after my OND, I tried everything, but I couldn't get admission into the university. So it felt like it's like you don't need to try the university again. Just proceed with the polytechnic education. And I must say that today I don't even regret one bit. I'm grateful to God that happened to me, because most of the things I learned in school, they became very useful in the field, because polytechnic is a very practical space. You have to be fully integrated into the practical aspects of whatever you're doing, unlike the university where it is more theoretical. You get so that's one thing I'm grateful for. I started it and I knew it was something I was getting into. And in the course of doing it, however, I enjoyed it and I felt, okay, I think this is something I should really explore, even professionally. So I became really, really serious with this, and thank God for today.
Miss Francisca, we'll see how I'm trying to. So I'm tying it up. I'm following the journey, and I want to see how you got to where you are today. Let's talk about the transition into HiImpact Studios. How did that begin for you? And you have shared that I've met you once, and I know that you are a very behind the scenes person. You like to make things happen excellently behind the scenes. So if you can take us through, how did you get started in the HiImpact Studios? Did you just become the head of studios? Like, were you just appointed? Or what was the journey like from the beginning, in terms of from the beginning now, and then pricing through?
Okay. So it was a process. I mean, I didn't just get appointed as the head of HiImpact Studios. It started off, I joined the company, Solution Media and Infotech Limited is the parent company. So I joined Solution Media and Infotech Limited as a core member. I started off as a corper, that's the interesting thing. So I served in HiImpact Planet Amusement Park in the corporate communications department. I was a corporate communications executive. I did corporate communications, I did digital marketing, I did photography. So that was it. That was how I got the photography training. It was a company that sponsored that. So after a while, I finished NYSC and I was retained in Solution Media and Infotech Limited. So after I was retained, I worked in the corporate communications department for about 2 years, thereabouts, over 2 years. Then the company decided to set up a media outfit, which is HiImpact Studios, and I'm one of the pioneer staff of HiImpact Studios. So when we were going to set up the TV station, the management decided to move those in the corporate communications department to become the pioneer staff for HiImpact Studios, because majority of us have our background in mass communication and we understood the media already and the media business. So we started that way, and HiImpact TV started. Then there was no HiImpact Radio. There was no, the production aspect was there, but it was a part of Solution Media and Infotech. So at that point, I started off as a marketing executive in HiImpact Studios. I was doing majorly marketing, although I was doing other things, but the main department was marketing. So after a while, I became the head of marketing. After being the head of marketing, the company decided to set up a TV station in the UK, which is HiImpact TV UK. So I became the head of HiImpact TV UK, as well as the head of marketing. So I did that for a while, and then I became the head of studios, HiImpact Studios. I can't hear you.
What have you learned through your journey of growth and just coming in from the core members, like you said, up until now? What are some of the things that you can share with us and with young people on the journey to life and getting to their destination of greatness? Because you see a lot of people say they want to make it, they want to blow, they want to be successful. We have all these terminologies out there. But what are some core ingredients that you think that people are missing that you can share with us that you have seen play out in your own life, specifically in this particular role, in terms of climbing through the road to head of studios?
Okay, I'm also a young person, so let's correct that. so
Okay.
So let me put it that way. Not the young people, because I mean I'm also up and coming, I'm still growing. It's a process. I still have a long way to go, and I'm hopeful that it becomes something really big eventually, and I would have been able to make a good mark in the industry. So the thing is, I usually say something about the place of service. I have noticed that a large number of people in the industry, I'll talk about the media and entertainment industry now, because I mean, this is my core, so let me talk about it. I've noticed that a large number of people do not want to step. They just want to climb the ladder and be up there. They want to do things on their own without, reporting to anyone, investing in another space that is not theirs. And from experience, life doesn't work that way. It's a process. You have to remember the place of loyalty. remember the place of service, genuine service. When I mean service, I mean genuine service. Like you have to serve to get up there. And it is better off to, it is sometimes better off to be a follower than to be a leader. I must be sincere with you, because leadership from experience comes with a lot of responsibility, comes with a lot of problems, comes with a lot of challenges, because if you are not ready and if you've not gone through the process of serving, you might get it all wrong when it gets to that point, because at the end of the day, it's like jumping from primary one to SS1. So you can imagine that it only takes God's grace for someone like that to be able to pull things through and survive, because there are lots of lessons that you miss. No matter how intelligent you are, there are things that you learn through the process. So one thing I would say is that for those that are just starting, probably someone that just finished from higher institution and is looking at going into the media and entertainment space, loyalty, service, genuine service is very important. It's something we shouldn't throw away, no matter what.
Okay, so this is a very important point about service and just going through the ladder, especially in the media space. Are there, what things do you think, you shared some of the things that you know that young people or younger people or anybody wanting to enter the media space, really, regardless of your age, should do? Are there things that are currently happening that maybe people are unaware of, that people in the media space can do better, whether or practitioners or people volunteering or people just starting out their journey? And I will tie that question with the second question of a person who is about to start out the journey. What would you say to that person on what the person needs to focus on? The person may not be focusing on maybe climbing up the ladder, but the person has a passion for media. What would you say to that person on how to ride the waves of the industry and then growing to get to the destination that this person desires?
Okay. I would just let me. I didn't quite get the question, but let me say my understanding of the question. You are trying to say, as a fresh graduate of mass communication, what are the things you do for you? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
I said something about service, that serving. So when you graduate from school and you probably do your NYC, you think that, oh, I'm a graduate, I've finished my NYC, so it's just plug and play for me. I can get into the market and start making money. So it really does not work that way. One thing I did was, probably because I went to a school where practical was very, very important. Like you have to just understand the practical aspect of what you learned in school. So I did my internship, I did my CWES, and those times, of course, I served, and I served genuinely. I had a lot of things that I didn't find interesting while I was serving. Probably some bosses that weren't doing something that would make me find work interesting, but I overlooked all of those things. For example, when I did my CWES, I was in a space where I was used. Like when they say they use somebody. But now what I've discovered is most people, most graduates, most young ones, when they come into the industry and then you give them tasks and all of that, they're like, no, I can't do this and I won't do it. But what I learned from being patient then was most of the things I picked up and I did them, they are now very useful. Those lessons, nobody took them away from me. Despite that, I didn't find some of these things interesting because I could see that some of these people were taking advantage of me and the fact that I could do these things, and they weren't giving me the accolades, and they weren't giving me maybe what I deserved as I did. But I didn't see it as anything. I took it as if it was a learning platform for me, and I mean, it's a step to greatness. Like I need to grow. So I did all of these things, and eventually they came in handy for me, and they are still even working for me. Because if I probably didn't do those things then and didn't learn those things, the gap will be open now. So as a young person that is coming out of school and going into the media and entertainment industry, when coming into this space, I feel like you need to ensure that you don't leave that gap. No matter what comes out of it, try to do what you need to do genuinely. Learn, use whatever platform you get on to learn, serve. No matter what, as far as it's not something that would ask for your life, if it's not something that demands maybe that is between life and death, and it's still something you can cope with, just use that opportunity, even if you feel you are being used and it's obvious that you are genuinely being used. Just pick up everything you need to pick up from platforms, do your internship, even after school, postgraduate IT, very important, because most of these things you learn them on the job. It is not what we are taught in the four walls of the classroom that we get to do in the field. Practical is different from whatever we were taught in school. So the only opportunity you have to know all of this is to come into the space where everything is being practicalized and see how it's done. So I would say don't throw away that.
Thank you so much, Ms. Francisca. I think that was really very insightful. Let's speak about HiImpact Studios now, TV, radio. It is a growing brand that is under 10 years, but it is a brand, especially the studio specifically, but it's a brand that is making a lot of exploits. One of the things that I shared with you that you were also going to share with us was the process behind building a global brand like HiImpact Studios. Could you take us the best way you can through what your week looks like, maybe what a day looks like and what a week looks like for you in terms of your schedule and just working behind the scenes to make sure that maybe we should take the TV, for instance, that the TV continues to put out global content and serve the audience according to your vision?
So it is more complex because, I mean, apart from working in the media space, I also lead a team. So I barely sleep because you have to always be at alert. You have to see what your competition is doing and be ahead of your competition. You have to, whatever you're doing and you're not doing right, you have to keep improving on it. Whatever you were doing last month becomes stale at some point. You have to improve upon those things. You have to ensure that you encourage your team to make them feel, because we're in a creative space. When you work with creative, there's a way you must just find a balance. You can't come off as I'm always fussy, pushy. You have to strike a balance. Even when you don't feel like smiling, you have to smile. Like always smile, always be at your best. So I would say a week in my life is work, learn. Because I mean, you cannot stop learning, and I read a lot. So reading helps me grow, it helps me learn. That's basically it. So when I'm not at work and I'm not reading, then it means maybe I traveled. And even when I travel, I still read, I learn.
So, Ms. Francisca, what would you say from the visible result that you're seeing? What would you say is that distinguishing factor that has pulled HiImpact Studios out? Because they're definitely, when you put it with other media brands, you can see a distinguishing factor, especially being the fact that it is also the first HD TV in Nigeria. Apart from that, what would you say are some of the work that you and your team put into the brand that distinguishes it? Well, whether people know about it or they don't know about it, that you'd like to share with us and we can learn.
Okay, one very remarkable distinguishing factor is the fact that we have young minds in HiImpact Studios, and we churn out quality content. Like, our contents are top notch, second to none. I can boldly say that. Like, I've tried to do my research, I've seen what other media outfits put out there, because our strength is in production. So we so much put that strength into content creation. We create majority of our content. So HiImpact TV has about 70% internally generated content. Over 70%, I think about 80%. And we don't just put out content. I mean, the quality must be top notch. Even my colleagues know, my team members, they know that if we don't meet up with this standard in terms of quality picture, quality audio, it's not going anywhere with HiImpact Studios. So it's like a thing. When you talk about quality content, quality programming, then you think of HiImpact TV, and of course HiImpact Radio, which is HiImpact Radio is barely a year, by about 6 months plus.
Is there a reason, with Francisca, why did HiImpact Studios choose to come in as an HD form? When everybody was just coming in as the regular viewing, the regular way that we view TV station. Why did HiImpact decide to say, you know what, this is how I want to come in? Because it's like the future of the future. When you say securing the future, when the brand says securing the future, it's literally doing that. But it's like the future of the future, almost like, are people even ready for this? Was there not fear of, are people even ready for this? And are people going to be able to keep up? Or was it more of, well, people are going to see this as an example and then maybe follow suit? What was that like when HiImpact decided to launch as a HD brand?
When I was in the start conversation, I talked to the parent company of HiImpact Studios, Solution Media and Infotech Limited. So Solution Media and Infotech Limited is a top-notch organization that takes care of events, lights, sound, quality audio, no matter how big, no matter the magnitude of your events, we have audio that can take care of the events. We have stage, light, sound. So Solution Media is a production-oriented organization. You understand? When it comes to entertainment, hospitality, media, production, and all of that. So the chairman and the MD of the organization, they so much like to do things differently. They do not like to do things that every other person is doing. Even if they want to do it, they had a spice, a touch to it that will make it different from the regular. So when we wanted to start our TV station, the chairman was like, okay, we have several TV stations. We have kiddies channel, we have entertainment stations and all of that. But what have they not touched on? So he said one thing, he said quality pictures, which is the full HD thing. That full HD is very expensive. It's not cheap to maintain, and no station in Nigeria has ever done full HD. So I would rather we go for a full HD station, and that was a very big problem to us because I told you that I was among the team that started HiImpact Studios. So we did our research, we looked at the platforms we could get on in Nigeria, and the most popular platforms, which are DSTV and the StarTimes platform. We reached out to them. DSTV said they couldn't accommodate us because we were going for full HD and they didn't have the bandwidth to take a full HD station. StarTimes was able to accommodate us, but they couldn't give us the quality as well. Do you understand my point? So, I mean, we now thought about it, but we want to start at the full HD station. How do we go about this? We now went for the last resort, which was the satellite platform. That was why we were on the Eutelsat platform for about 4 years. We've been on Eutelsat platform for 3 years plus. So we were running 6 Mbps full HD, not just full HD, but 6 Mbps on the Eutelsat platform, which we were able to maintain for over 4 years, over 3 years rather. And then even when we got on the Sky platform, we did SD on the Sky platform, but the SD in the UK is synonymous, is almost like the full HD in Nigeria. So even our SD was still full HD, but it is SD in the UK because of their quality, how they rate their quality. Their own full HD starts from about 12 Mbps. So we did that, and I mean, it wasn't very easy, but people loved the picture quality. So most times when we even reach out to people, because I told you I was in the marketing department, when we talk about HiImpact Studios or HiImpact TV, people would say, oh, that channel, I so much love the quality. Very bright, so clear, and all of that. So that was one thing. And we felt like brands out there, they want to put out their products, they want to shoot ads for their products and everything. Imagine comparing a full HD advert on TV with an SD advert. So it was a major one for us. And we really wanted that, and we were able to do it and sustain it for more than 3 years.
Oh, that's a big deal. Wow, thank you. I didn't even know that I would be getting so much value from that answer when I asked that question, but I personally learned a lot. Thank you for taking us through that journey. Ms. Francisca, one of the important things in building an organization that has legacy is process of selecting your team. How do you, at the selection of your team, and so on and so forth, for you personally as head of studios, what criteria do you look out for when you are selecting your team members that would move the vision forward? And team members on any front, whether contract, volunteer, whatever, in-house, core team and all that. And what would you share for a leader in your position as well? What are the key things that you have seen have worked and have not also worked for you that we can learn from? Because it's important in building a global brand and, you know, leading a position like yours.
Okay, I'm going to start with what I look out for and what the organization, Solution Media and Prefect looks out for. One thing is character, commitment, then competence, then credibility. I started with character. Character is major for me, personally. For me to work with somebody, character is major for me. I would even pick character before I pick competence. Yes, and I would explain. So if somebody is very good, the person is competent, very good with what he or she does, and the person does not have a good character, it's a major turn off for me, and it draws me back. It has a way of affecting productivity and work for me. So I would prefer to work with somebody that has a very good character and is willing to learn, someone that has a good character and is committed and is credible. So I can then invest in the person. I can work on the person. Okay, you want to do this, but you don't know how to go about it. Let's get on it together. Let's see how to make it work. Then we help one another to grow. But if the person is competent and the person has a terrible character, the person is not committed, and the person is not credible, then it's a no-no for me. It's a major no-no.
Okay, in terms of, so have there been situation, of course, to the degree that you want to share, are there been situation where you had to maybe deal with difficult situations of maybe letting a person go, or maybe observed or experienced in, it could be this organization or any other organization, and what would you say that process was like for you? Was it like an emotional one, or was it one of, hey, this is the decision that is best for the organization, there is no hard feelings? Because sometimes leaders have to make those sort of decisions, and it could be difficult, or it could be not difficult for some people. So have you found yourself in those in that scenario, that situation, and what was that like for you, whether it's present or even before HiImpact?
I found myself in that space, in that situation, and it was a very emotional one for me. It was really, really emotional. But what can I do? I'm not, that is the HR's bit, human resource bit of the organization. So, if the management has decided that this person has to go because the person is not doing what is expected, or the person erred one way or the other, there is little or nothing I can do, especially when I see that whatever they are saying is the truth. Like, there's no form of lie in whatever they are saying. So I've been in that space, and I have to allow it happen.
Okay. So we'll start to.
Very emotional one for me, like I said, because as an individual, I'm a very emotional person, so I have to deal with it.
Okay, but I think the lesson you've also shared with us is, so leaders have to take those decisions. It's something that is part of it. So maybe be ready for it, sort of. It's something that you have to brace up for. We'll start to wrap up now, but I would like you to share with us, Francisca, one important memory and experience. It has to be in a story form that has shaped you into the kind of woman that you have become? Apart from, because we've taken experiences and lessons from school, but just generally walking through this your journey as a leader, what is that experience or memory or even story that has shaped you and has taught you things to become better? Well, whether negative or positive through your journey of leadership.
Okay, experience. One very important experience, something I would never forget, was in 2021. Yes, when um, HiImpact Studios got burned. There was a fire incident and everything from the beginning, 3 years of hard work and commitment, labor, went down the drain right in my side. I saw it happen. So a very, it was a very emotional one for me because I was like, I wouldn't have even seen it. Maybe I wouldn't have been there when it happened, but God knows how He does things. So it was right in my sight, right in my presence, and everything that was running through my mind was, where do we start from? Because we all know what it means for a media organization to get bought, a full HD station. So beyond the money to set it up, I'm talking about the emotions, like the things you need to put into place, because we're talking about creativity, starting from the scratch, the content you've been able to put together. We all know that when you're talking about the media and entertainment industry, you cannot put aside content. Content is king. So the content, the equipment, the sets, and the funny thing is, it happened when we restructured. It happened when we worked on some major things. We changed about 4 sets. We had about 4 sets for our live shows, and we just did new sets. We just worked on the sets when it happened. So it was just immediately after our third anniversary, after our Impact Studios clocked 3 years. So it was a major one for me, and it's something I would never ever forget, because the thought of how to put it back beyond the money, like the money is major, don't get me all wrong. The money to put all of this back in bits and pieces is a whole lot of money. I can't even start to talk about it. But the hard work, the fact that all of this happened right in my sight, and I still have to ensure that everything comes back to life. It was a major one for me, but I'm grateful to God. I'm grateful to God because all of this came back to life in less than 2 years, and see where we are today, way better than what we were before the fire happened. We were able to correct a lot of errors, correct them from mistakes we made in the construction, in putting things together and all of that. We were able to correct all of those things. And I so much believe that HiImpact Studios in the near future, it's even happening very soon, will become a force to reckon with in the media and entertainment industry. So that's one thing that gives me joy, by His grace.
Miss Francisca, you have graciously summarized that fire incident, and I'm sure, like, if we spend more time there, there are just a lot of things that you have to share. But one important thing that I want to share was it did you see where Impact was right now when the studio got burnt down at that particular point? Did you see that, okay, we're going to rise again? And even if it was something that you positively affirmed, what did you use to muster out that courage and hope? I think that's important for you to share with us, so that if anybody finds themselves in that situation where they have lost everything, it could be a building falling or whatever the case may be, they can get those ingredients to get them back up. So what would those ingredients be for you? Was it prayer? Was it courage? What were those things that continue to lift your spirit and the spirit of the team to this path that HiImpact is right now? Because it is almost unbelievable that 3 years ago or so this incident happened, and now look at where you are, like you have shared with us.
Okay, the first thing that I would say, the factor that I saw that made me know that yes, there will be light at the end of the tunnel, it was God factor. Because there's one thing that can never be taken away from me, and that's God. Like, I so much believe in God and every of His promises. Because I'm sorry, but I'm going to quote the Bible. The Bible says that heaven and earth shall pass away, but an iota of the word of God would never pass away. So I held on to that because God has ordained that this brand is going to be a very remarkable and global brand. So it was a thing. So when it happened, I held on to God's word. I was like, God, you said you are meant to make this brand a great one. You've shown me the picture of where you are taking this brand to. So why did this happen? This is a major drawback. And the response I got was, it happened so you can be prepared for the future, because the future ahead of you is going to be so great that you need something to make you resilient. So that was the number one thing. The second thing was the support of family. Like, my family stood up, my parents, they were so there for me. They kept on encouraging every step of the way. The third thing was the support of some beautiful, amazing friends, even friends that are not in the system. And the fourth thing was my team. Then the management, of course, the chairman, the managing director, they were so willing to make HiImpact Studios remain what it is. They didn't say, okay, that will be the end of HiImpact Studios. And I will put it straight to you that even the month that the fire incident happened, before the end of the month, everyone got their salaries. That was one thing that shook me, because I was like, okay, after this major loss, the management still decided to pay everyone, because we were thinking that what will be the next thing? We all have to go home and forget about HiImpact Studios. But that wasn't the case. We were still like encouraged that get on the job, do what is needed, and by His grace, we're getting back up. So family, God, and friends, amazing people around. That was it.
Thank you. That's really important. Thank you for sharing with us. I've listened to the radio, the HiImpact radio, and I think it's really sound radio to listen to. Very important. The other thing that I was able to pick up was the fact that HiImpact radio is very founded on the facts, on the entertainment words that you use. What inspires, or what is the motive behind putting a lot of education, of course, collaborating it with entertainment on radio? Because many people start out radio and, they just start playing music and like nothing much nothing much is happening. But you see things like, even there's this Hello Impact, there's this thing where you are getting answers to questions, to just random questions, which is educating. I think that's an important part of the education. So what is the motive, or what is the founding factor behind instilling and making sure that HiImpact Radio is full of education, not just entertainment?
Okay. I said something about the fact that we always want to do things differently, and we want to do not just differently, but something that would impact people's lives, not just lives, rather, not just a random thing. So when we're going to start HiImpact TV, it was supposed to be a children's channel just to educate children and entertain children. But we felt that we could go beyond that, beyond just children. Let's make it a family thing. So it became a family entertainment station. So when we're going to start HiImpact Radio, we felt, okay, let's make it an urban lifestyle station. So it concentrates on the youth, because it will be a youthful radio station. But in the midst of it, we still felt, okay, making it an urban lifestyle station, it shouldn't just be all about music. It shouldn't be all about having entertainment, gist, gossips, and all of that. But how about we do something, a platform where people can also learn, like take things away that, it remains, like when you learn something in a particular space, you keep remembering that, oh, I learned this thing. For example, you were saying something about the question and answer thing, where they would ask questions like, where is the biggest river in the world, things like that. So when you don't know that and you learn it on a platform, it's only normal that you always remember that, and you would know that I learned it on this platform. This was where I learned it. So that way you always remember HiImpact Radio. So that was the whole strategy behind this. We don't just want to have a platform where people would come, listen to music, dance, and all of that. But while dancing, while listening to music, while listening to interesting content, how about they learn from this content as well? And these are things that would work for them, that will remain with them all their life. So that was the whole idea.
I'm glad I finally got to the answer because I was always just so fascinated, especially that particular part is my favorite part of the Impact Radio because there's just always something new to learn. And I'm so grateful for the fact that we have our Impact Radio in our midst. Okay, we'll get to your rapid fire question now, Miss Francisca. I think two more questions and we are out. One of the things I want to share is the media space seems to be a space where, not seem to be, it's a space where not a lot of people talk about God or their relationship with God and all that. But I follow you on your own page and I see that that's something you talk about. You talk about God, how it helps you and all that. Why have you decided to amplify God in your life, despite how a lot of your colleagues may feel like, yeah, like I'm not talking about God? Why do you think that's important to you? That's personally, that to you as a person.
Okay, so I would say that it's been a long time coming, and I was born into a family where my parents made me understand that whatever you do in life, if you don't have the backing of God, then you are just a joke, like you are joking. So if you're a Muslim, hold on to your religion, hold on to your God, and ensure that you put God first in everything you do. If you are a Christian, put God first in everything you do, hold on to your God. So it has always been a thing, even right from when I was a child. So I grew up doing that. Of course, when I was a child, I didn't know certain things because I felt like, okay, it's okay. I'm serving God. I'm going to church because my parents are Christians and I have to go to church. But as I grew, it became a thing, and I had the personal conviction that, okay, you really need to know God for yourself beyond what your parents have taught you. So I picked it up. I started to go that route by myself. And every step of the way, all through the process, God has always been there. I see God's presence in everything I do. And for every achievement that I've had today, for everything I've achieved, everything I've been able to do today, I still see God's presence. And I feel like, and I know, not that I feel like, but I know for sure that without God, I can't be in this space and I can't get anything right. So that's why I'm proud to put it out there. I mean, beyond what anyone feels, beyond what anyone would say, I'm very, very proud to put it out there that God is God is the one behind everything, behind Francisca Ovie.
Okay, you're about your foundation, Omotala Foundation. You already shared the reason for starting that we read in your bio. But what would you say is the thing that keeps your heart burning for the particular foundation, and where do you want it to be in the next 5 years?
Okay, what keeps my heart burning? Let me start with that. What keeps my heart burning for Motherland Foundation is the fact that it was Motherland Foundation is God ordained. It was God that gave me that vision. It wasn't a vision that I just came up with. I didn't just wake up and say, okay, I want to have a foundation, but it was God that gave me the vision. I've always known that I have to do something for people because I've always been a lover of humanity. I've always been someone that wants to always help, but I just wanted a platform where I can do it and do it properly. It doesn't mean that the only form of service to humanity that I do at the moment is Omotala Foundation. But Omotala Foundation came out of my love for children, especially. I absolutely love children because I feel like they have a plain mind, they have a genuine heart, and they do everything from a genuine point of view because they are kids, their minds are still very clear. So I love them. I love to play with children. I love to have children around me. So I just felt that, okay, we have a lot of children out there that are less privileged. Like they have what it takes to become people like us, but they are not opportuned. So I felt like, okay, why not have a platform whereby you can easily cater to these children, was why I came up with Omotala Foundation. Where I see Omotala Foundation in the next 5 years, Omotala Foundation is going to be a global one. Like, it will be beyond Nigeria, it will be beyond Africa, it will be global. Like, I'll be able to go even into the nitty-gritty of other countries of the world to render my service to humanity, especially the less privileged children. So that's where I see Omotola Foundation.
Thank you, Ms. Francisca. Your final question before your rapid fire question. What big dreams do you have currently burning in your heart that you'd like to share with us? And what can we expect following you, learning from you, moving forward in the next, whatever amount of years, really? There's no cap on the years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever the case may be. But what are those, what will you say is that, or are those big dreams that you have burning that you would like to see actualized in the coming years?
Big dreams, personally. One thing I have in my heart that I would like to see happen in the coming year or in 2-3 years from now is I want to explore the film industry. I don't want to, it doesn't mean that I want to become a full-time filmmaker, but I want to at least do one film, at least, at the very least, that would be remarkable, that would shake the ground. So that is one thing I know the message I want to pass with the film already, but I'm holding on to that. That will be with me. But I really want to do that in the near future, very soon by His grace. Then for
Okay, no, I wanted to say that, but I hope you are going to act. Are you going to act, or you just be behind the scene again? Okay, good. You wanted to share?
Yes, then the other thing I would, I missed that. I lost my train of thought. So the other thing is regarding HiImpact Studios. For HiImpact Studios, one big dream I have for HiImpact Studios is I want it to become a very great institution, whether I'm a part of it or not, whether I'm still a part of it or not. That's the vision, the dream I have for HiImpact Studios, and I'm seriously saying it should become a great institution, a media production, entertainment institution, a force to reckon with all over the world, beyond just Nigeria, beyond Lagos. That is the big dream I have for HiImpact Studios, and I'm hopeful that that would happen by His grace.
Miss Francisca, I know I said final question. Please, one final question. Miss Francisca, why do you like, or why are you passionate about being behind the scene? So yes, let's learn from you.
Okay, as this thing I tell my colleagues, like, you don't necessarily have to be the face. Like, you don't necessarily have to be seen for you to make impact. Do you understand? I feel like it's okay if you want to be seen, and that is the direction, because I ask God questions for everything I want to do. I ask God for direction. I don't just do things because I want to do those things. I ask God for direction. So if your direction, if God is telling you that you should put out your face, then it's okay. But if God is telling you that you don't have to put out your face and you would still move things and make things work, so why not just stay that route? And it doesn't mean that because your face is not out there, because you are not a face, you are not acting, you are not a presenter, you are not this, you are not that, you wouldn't achieve God's purpose for your life. So I really want to, I feel like this is my comfortable space, although I've learned not to stay in my comfort zone, but I feel like I'm more comfortable with doing things behind the scenes, and there is no particular direction from God that I must be out there. Unfortunately, things happen that makes me just get out there, and I take it the way it is. I take them the way they come. But then, at the same time, I still would rather be behind the scenes.
Like how I said, like this interview, that we had to pull you out, and I'm so grateful for granting us the interview. Thank you. Okay, Miss Francisca, the final segment, you have to answer the questions in 30 seconds. You can't take longer than 30 seconds to answer the question. So we'll get right into it. The first question is, what is your favorite color?
My favorite color is yellow, of course.
Okay, what is your favorite food?
My favorite food. My favorite food. I don't have a favorite food. I don't have a favorite
because this guy is not allowed, though. You have to pick one.
I don't have a favorite food. I'm serious.
You can't. Okay. What are you allergic to?
What am I allergic to? In terms of
Yes, if there's anything. No, just generally, maybe dust, just anything generally, if there's anything you're allergic to.
I'm allergic to it. Like, I don't like being in a hot place.
Okay, okay. What is your best movie? So, yeah.
I don't really watch movies. I don't
Okay.
watch movies.
Okay.
I watch based on recommendation, and maybe I'm looking out for something. So I really don't have the best movie. Let me put it that way.
Okay. So the next question, what is your best book?
I don't have a best book. I have a lot of books that I love.
Okay, Miss Francisca, I'm counting the questions you haven't answered. You have to make it up in the other segment, but okay. Okay, Deborah is saying you love Chinese specials. Okay, no problem. We've noted that. So that's good. If you were not giving birth to in Nigeria, what country would you have liked to be born into?
US.
Gold or silver?
Gold.
Black or white?
White, of course.
Yellow or pink? I already know the answer. Okay. What is one favorite attire for you to wear on any day? What is one favorite attire for you to wear? Okay.
African attire.
Okay. What is one favorite thing for you to do?
Everything for me to do. To read, to spend time with my loved ones.
Okay. What do you like to do for fun?
Spend time with my loved ones. Read.
Okay. Small chops or jollof rice?
Small chops.
Okay. That question usually hard. Okay, fruits or vegetables?
Fruits or vegetables?
Yes. Okay. Would you rather take the train or would you rather take a ship?
Train or a ship?
Yes.
Train, of course.
Okay. Then a bus or an airplane? Which one do you prefer, a bus or an airplane?
Airplane.
Okay. Writing or speaking?
Writing.
Rain or sunshine?
Rain.
How do you prefer to learn, audio or visual?
Visual.
A day at the beach or a day in one of your favorite restaurants?
A day at the
Beach or a day in one of your favorite restaurants?
A day at the beach.
Okay, if you had a magical wand, what is one thing, just one thing, and there's just one thing you can see change in Nigeria? What is that one thing you would like to see changed?
In Nigeria?
Yes.
Quality.
System. Okay. All right. And then finally, sadly so, but finally, what would you like to be remembered for?
I would like to be remembered for making a mark, service to humanity, making people happy, making people fulfilled in life.
Okay. So, Ms. Francisca, before you go, please, can you give us tips to the secret of your beauty, like your beauty, the tips to the secret of your beauty? And with my notes, let me write it down so that we can take it as we are going. Miss Francisca. Thank you very much, Miss Francisca. We're really, really grateful. I'm so grateful. I learned a lot from this interview and I'll rewatch it. I'm going to watch it again. The replay would also be available on YouTube, right here on Instagram and everything in between. Thank you for all that you are doing, serving us through HiImpact, Motala Foundation, and everything in between. I'm really grateful. Thank you. And thank you to everybody that joined in as well.
I can see a lot of loved ones, Deborah, Joy, Faraday, and a lot of beautiful people here. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes. All right.